أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية أمير المؤمنين والأئمة المعصومين عليهم السلام. والحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، خاتم النبيين، شفيع المذنبين، حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من يوم عداوتهم إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله عز وجل في كتابه الحكيم وهو أصدق القائلين: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ومن الناس من يشري نفسه ابتغاء مرضات الله والله رؤوف بالعباد. آمنا بالله، صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. I begin in the name of Allah, the most kind, the most merciful. It's due to that kindness and mercy that we have these opportunities where we gather in remembrance and glorification of Him Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And then we send our condolences to our living Imam and to each and every one of you as we gather this evening to continue our commemoration of the shahadat of Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhima afdalus salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. We pray to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala that we each get an opportunity to go for the ziyarat of our Imam in Najaf, and that we receive his shafa'at in the hereafter, insha'Allah. Yesterday we began to look at the personality of the Imam alayhi salam, in that history does not give us many other personalities like him who are so polarizing in their nature. When one gets to know Imam Ali alayhi salam, they are either gravitated towards him or they are repulsed by him, meaning that they don't want any association with Ali ibn Abi Talib. And this second reaction of being repulsed by Ali, having animosity towards Ali, is one that needs to be studied. Because when we look at the books of history, we said both from the books of Shia and in the books of Sunnah, we find that in the books that they revere and that it is considered to be authentic from their end, it is full of praise of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And so when we look at that scenario where the main books that talk about Ali are in praise of Ali, then how then do we have today such a strong group of people who have such animosity for Ali ibn Abi Talib, right? And so we described this yesterday, and to say that the dislike of Ali alayhi salam during his lifetime can be categorized into two. There was a dislike of Ali pre-Khilafah, and there was a dislike of Ali during his Khilafah. The pre-Khilafah dislike of Ali alayhi salam is based on the fact, if the doors of the gyms are going to stay open, can the people in the gym at least have the respect of not talking to each other? And Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And so when we look at this category of the Imam alayhi salam, right, and in fact the animosity towards Ali in his lifetime, this animosity for Ali alayhi salam in his lifetime pre-Khilafah was primarily based on jealousy. That every great fadl of Ali, every great merit was given to Ali. He was the first to accept Islam. He was given the hand of the Prophet's daughter. Every time there was an opportunity for one person to rise in rank, basically. You look at Khaybar, you look at Khandak. Whenever the Prophet would say, I'm going to give this flag to someone, everybody had hopes, that maybe I'll be that one. but it was always Ali ibn Abi Talib. And so there was this jealousy that brewed about Ali, and it continued even during the Khilafat of the first three, that they felt that Ali was not someone that they wanted to give this Khilafat to. And we will discuss tomorrow exactly why they did that. And so primarily it was jealousy. Now as we know with jealousy has different levels, right? Sometimes there is a passive jealousy where, man, I just can't stand him, he gets all the perks, right? And then other times there is this rooted jealousy, a deep jealousy, because you feel that you deserve what is being given to someone else. Post Khilafah or during Khilafah, the animosity for Ali alayhi salam, we said yesterday, was on different fronts, was because of different reasons. There were a group of people who just disliked the Khilafah now. They were tired of the chair because Uthman, for the last half of Uthman's Khilafah, Uthman began to give away money towards his family that could have helped the Ummah. And so people did not trust the Khilafah. And so there was an entire group of people who disliked Ali simply because Ali became the Caliph, not because Ali was Ali. Right? And then there was another group of people, as we said, who were loyal to Uthman. And so when Ali came and reversed everything that Uthman had done, they automatically disliked Ali. And then there was a whole third contingency of people who disliked Ali because they felt they should have been the caliphs at that time. Either way, when we look at the life of Ali and at the shahadat of Ali ibn Abi Talib, when Ali is killed, this level of animosity towards Ali, or this level of dislike towards Ali, also came to an end. Where they may still have resented Ali, but not to the extent where they would kill the Shia of Ali because of their dislike of Ali. That's taking it to a whole nother level. When you see how Maytham Tammar was killed, when you see how Hujr ibn Uday was killed, when you see how till today the Shias of Ali are being killed simply because they are the Shia of Ali, that's not the animosity that the first half that we talked about right now. It wasn't that extent. So the question that we're going to answer today is that when did this level of hate for Ali begin? Yeah? And when we look at the books of history, we find that this level of animosity started during the caliphate of Muawiya. Yeah? Muawiya and then the Bani Umayyads who came after him, who continued to perpetuate this level of hate for Ali, to, well, generations later, it changed the entire perception of who Ali was. Yeah? The first half, when we talked about, or when during the life of Ali, people knew who Ali was. That if somebody tried to make up a lie about Ali, there would people there who would deny that and say that no, this is not who Ali is. Ali is the one who did this. Ali is the one who did that. Yeah, we may not like the justice of Ali, but we will not take away the fadl of Ali, the merits of Ali. But when you see that afterwards, after the death of Ali, or after the martyrdom of Imam Ali alayhi salam, then whatever is said about him, and especially as time goes by, you can really manipulate history. And this is where we see Muawiya completely change how people viewed and perceived Ali ibn Abi Talib. Right? So when Muawiya comes into power, Muawiya, for being Muawiya, had a lot of enemies and people who opposed him. Right? So on one hand, you had people such as Abdullah bin Zubair, yeah, who was in Makkah, the son of Zubair, as we talked about yesterday. Zubair wanted the Khilafah. When Zubair died, his son Abdullah wanted the Khilafah. Then you had people like Abdul Rahman ibn Abu Bakr. Yeah? You had people like Aisha. You had people like Sa'ad ibn Waqas. You had people like Abdullah bin Umar. You had people like Qais bin Sa'ad bin Abada, and a list of people who opposed Muawiya's Khilafah. And there were strong people with people who had money, people who had different means with them. And so there was an entire group of people who disliked Muawiya and considered Muawiya to be his opponent. So it's not that Muawiya came and that Muawiya ruled over all of the Muslims with ihtihad, right? With any type of unity. No, Muawiya had a lot of opposition. And so that was one group of people who disliked Muawiya. On the other hand, you had a second group of people who opposed Muawiya, and these were people who were committed to the veneration and the love of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Yeah? Allah Salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. And for these people who are loyal to Ali, it was impossible for them to venerate and be loyal to Ali and have or give allegiance to Muawiya at the same time. It was not a possibility. And because that was not a possibility, they would always exist as threats to Muawiya. And so Muawiya had these two different categories of people or groups of people who he viewed as threat. Now when you take the first group, Muawiya really was not concerned with this first group. Right? And we gave all the names that were part of this first group, the sons of the first caliphs and all of these other people who were prominent. He wasn't concerned about them because he recognized that these were my political enemies. And as political enemies, being the shrewdest of politicians himself, Muawiya knew it would be easy to dispel with people who were his political enemies. He could threaten them, yeah? He could boycott them, he could bribe them, he could whatever it was necessary to do. He knew it would be easy to intimidate those who are considered to be his political enemies. And so you find that Muawiya did not pay too much attention to these group of people. But the greatest concern to Muawiya was the lovers of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Yeah? Because the lovers of Ali ibn Abi Talib could not be bribed. Yeah? The lovers of Ali ibn Abi Talib could not be intimidated. They tried it. Yeah? They tried it. They tried it with Maytham. They tried it with Hujr. They tried it with so many people. They gladly took whatever was thrown at them because they knew that the love of Ali ibn Abi Talib is worth more than whatever is available in dunya. Right? And this was the test that the lovers of Ali had to endure, and Muawiya knew that this was something that he had to combat from a different way. He couldn't bribe them, he couldn't change them. And so Muawiya knew that he had to counter the personality of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And this is what we touched upon yesterday. It is fascinating, right? It is so fascinating that Ali is already killed at this time. Yeah, Ali is not alive anymore at this time. Yet Muawiya is so threatened by Ali ibn Abi Talib. Imagine, right? Imagine the personality of Ali, and imagine one then till today, if they hold on to the wilaya of Ali, what that wilaya is worth by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah? It can't be sold, it can't be transferred, and if we hold on to it correctly, it can change this world. And Muawiya recognized that, right? And so what Muawiya had to do was that Muawiya had to counter the personality of Ali. And so what Muawiya did was he began to tarnish the personality of Ali. Ali wasn't there to defend himself. He began to forge lies about Ali. Because if Muawiya could tarnish the legacy or the name of Ali, it would legitimize the rulership of Muawiya. Yeah? Because in Muawiya's eyes, if whenever you compared Ali to Muawiya, Muawiya would always come out the loser. Would always come out the loser. Right? That you would say that Ali is like, Muawiya is like, but Ali was like this. Yeah? That Muawiya did, but Ali was like this. Muawiya knew he could never win. And so the only way to legitimize his khilafah was to tarnish the name of Ali to that extent where it came so down that they say Muawiya is a way better option than Ali ibn Abi Talib. Yeah? You see what Muawiya wanted to do? Right? And so Muawiya began to do these things. Muawiya began a series of things and a series of plans that he put into place that when we see it from the lens that we have today, we can see why people have this level of animosity for Ali ibn Abi Talib. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So one of the first things that Muawiya did when he came to power is that he wrote to his governors and he said to them that I shall have no obligation, I shall not have any obligation to him who talks about the virtues of Ali or his family. Yeah? Yani I will not have any association with people who talk about Ali. I will not pay a mal from the Baytul Mal to anyone who talks anything good about Ali or his family, and I will cut him off from our kingdom or from our rulership. Immediately, what began to transpire, immediately in the rule of Muawiya, what began to transpire was that orators began to curse Ali and his family in any public gathering that they could. Yeah? Imagine the madlumiyat of Ali. Yeah, that it said that it became a custom that in every Friday prayer, in every mosque in the Muslim empire, except for one, yeah, in every mosque, it became a custom that during Jummah khutbah they would curse Ali ibn Abi Talib. Subhanallah. Yeah, and it is said that this tradition continued for 60 years. 60 years, according to some books. Other books say it continued as long as 90 years, the cursing of Ali ibn Abi Talib. But you take that number. I know we've heard this over and over again, right? That this first aspect. But I need you to think about that for a second. We're talking about 2 full generations of people, yeah, who have only heard how bad Ali ibn Abi Talib is. Yeah? 2 full generations of people who only heard that Ali never prayed, Ali cheated, Ali was this, Ali was that, and to curse Ali, right? And these are people who, after it happens a few times, and now my children listen to it, so now my children have bought into it, now my children's children will buy into it, right? Eventually it came to a time where people believed whatever was being said about Ali ibn Abi Talib. Right? Because there was nothing else to counter it. They didn't have Google to say, let me verify what is being said. Right? Let me check. They believed whatever came from the podium. They believed whatever came from the pulpit. And it's not that it happened 1 time, 5 times. It happened for 60 consecutive years where they cursed Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is the first thing that Muawiya implemented. The second thing that Muawiya did was that he ordered his governors in Kufa and Basra to hunt down anyone still loyal to Ali ibn Abi Talib. Yeah? Literally a witch hunt began. That anyone who had anything to do with Ali ibn Abi Talib was going to be attacked. And they were going to have either their properties confiscated or to that extent where they would be killed simply for being loyal to Ali ibn Abi Talib. Right? This was an agenda item that was sent out all over, in particular in Kufa and Basra, because that is where the Imam had a base there. Our 5th Imam, Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam, Salli ala Ali Muhammad. He, in a very beautiful narration, he describes the difficulty on the Ahlul Bayt and on the Shia during the time of the Bani Umayyad. This is what he says. He says, ثُمَّ لَمْ نَزَلْ أَهْلُ الْبَيْتِ نُسْتَظَلُّ وَنُسْتَضَامُ وَنُقْصَى وَنُمْتَهَنُ وَنُحْرَمُ وَنُقْتَلُ وَنَخَافُ وَلَا نَأْمَنُ عَلَى دِمَائِنَا وَدِمَاءِ أَوْلِيَائِنَا. He says that we were constantly subject to battery and cursing. Yeah? We don't hear about this often, right? We really don't. When we look at the traditions from the Ahlul Bayt, like we look at our 5th Imam, he constantly talks about fiqh and akhlaq, but we never hear about the mazlumiyat of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam from their own mouths, right? And this is something that I think we have to focus on and realize that this was a reality. It wasn't just that, okay, they killed Imam al-Hussein and they left them alone. No, they were constantly harassed, yeah? Constantly bothered, constantly prodded. And this was something that was part of simply being someone from the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. The Imam says that we were constantly subject to battery and cursing and chasing and disadvantages. We and our followers, he says, could not live safely. Yeah? We could not live safely. وَكَانَ إِذَمُ ذَلِكَ وَكِبَرُهُ زَمَنِ مُعَاوِيَةَ. And he said the worst of this was during the time of Muawiya. بعد وفاة الحسن عليه السلام فقتلت شيعتنا بكل بلدة. Subhanallah. Yeah? He says that at the time of Muawiya, our Shia were being killed in every city by Muawiya. Subhanallah. Yeah? That this was a strategic plan by Muawiya. That not only are we going to curse Ali whenever we get a chance to curse Ali, but wherever there are remnants of Shia left, we are going to eliminate and exterminate them. Why? Because as long as they are alive, the ideology and the personality of Ali continues to be alive. We want no traces of the personality of Ali. And so our 5th Imam says that we were being killed in every city. Their hands and their legs were being cut simply due to mistrust, and anyone who expressed love and dedication for us was imprisoned, the Imam says. Yeah? Man, look at how easy we got it today, honestly. Yeah? Yes, our brothers and sisters in Afghanistan, they don't got it that easy. Yeah? Our brothers and sisters in Syria, they don't have it that easy. In Pakistan, they don't have it that easy. In Quetta, they don't have it that easy. In Nigeria, they don't have it. But we have it easy, my brothers and sisters. Yeah? We got to appreciate that. We have to thank Allah. And of course, there is responsibility with that, right? It's not that we just gather. We have to look after in any way that we can those of our brothers and sisters who are suffering in this way. And so the Imam alayhi salam describes this. Now I want you to again think about this. On one hand, people are getting paid to curse Ali ibn Abi Talib. Okay? On the other hand, you have a notice that you need to find everyone who's a lover in Ali. What do you think that brought about? Snitches. Yeah? Snitches, left, right, and center. People who will witch hunt other people just so that they can get in the good graces of Muawiya and claim people are the Shias of Ali. Or even if somebody was the Shia of Ali, it would be very difficult to trust anybody else. So now again, I want us to imagine the picture of how difficult it was to have the wilayat of Ali ibn Abi Talib in people. Yeah? This is some amazing, my brothers and sisters, right? That it's not easy, that this amanat of wilayat is not supposed to be easy. Everyone in history who has ever carried the wilayat had to suffer some form of burden or the other. Right? And that burden is there because the love of Ali is ghali. Yeah? It is expensive. It is not cheap that is given to everyone. So these were the first two things that Muawiya instituted. The third thing, right, that Muawiya instituted was that he ordered his rulers to forge stories similar to the fadail of Ali that were given by the Prophet about other people now. Yeah? So now there is an entire introduction to stories or fadail about people that never existed before. Now we start seeing them in the books of history. So we start, for example, seeing about the great status of the companions of the Prophet, the great status of the first three khulafa that were there, the status of the senior caliphs who existed around that time, people who had seen the Prophet. We start seeing made up stories about what is known as the Promised 10, the Ashrah al-Mubashara. The Ashrah, the Promised 10 are who? The 10 people who will enter Jannah according to the Ahl Sunnah without any questions. Yeah? Amongst them is Ali. Part of that 10 is Ali, but 9 other people were raised to a status similar to Ali. You see what's happening here? Right? This is where we now start seeing the martaba that was given to the wives of the prophets as well. What is interesting, my brothers and sisters, that when we go back into history, the companions, the early companions, the first three caliphs, the wives of the prophets were never raised to the status that they were at their own time. They weren't. This was a fabrication that started at the time of Muawiya and that was applied to the early companions to say that this was always in existence about these people. Right? And so what we begin to see is that on one hand, Ali is being cursed, Ali, stories are being made. So what's happening to the status of Ali? The status of Ali is coming down. And on the other hand, you are forging stories about the other companions, and the status of the other companions is coming up. Yeah? And what that does is, it legitimizes their rulership. It legitimizes their khilafah. Because if Ali was such a great person, if Ali was the closest to the Prophet, if Ali was said, Man kuntu mawla, no one can deny these things, then how come it wasn't given? Because these other companions were as good as Ali ibn Abi Talib. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. If it was clear-cut easy, then they would have no excuse not to give the khilafah to Ali ibn Abi Talib. But when you raise the status of others to that extent, that it matches Ali or even goes higher than Ali, then they have more haqq to the khilafah than Ali ibn Abi Talib. Man, the manipulation of Muawiya is mind-boggling. Yeah? It takes a special type of conniving person to be able to be so conniving. Yeah? And Muawiya had that. Muawiya had that in him. So these were the first three things that Muawiya did. He legitimized the three caliphs before him. Right? And then we come to the fourth thing that Muawiya did. Right? The fourth aspect of Muawiya's rulership was that to legitimize his own khilafah. Right? Because you can say, okay, there were four. Where did Muawiya jump the line from? Yeah, it should have gone to Hassan, because Hassan was the most apt after Imam Ali. So to legitimize his own khilafah, Muawiya had to raise the status of Uthman. Yeah? And so what Muawiya did is he began to pay a hefty amount of money for anyone who would write any fabricated story about the status of Uthman. Right? Now, this is a point that we have to also reflect about, that how come people didn't question that, wait a minute, yeah, like these sound fabricated, these don't sound true, right? And I think it is not difficult to understand why they didn't question it, because no one had ever lied about hadith before, right? If somebody had never lied about something before, then they are not going to expect any lies coming from there. You understand or no? Right? You look at the story of Adam and Hawa. Right? Adam and Hawa, Allah clearly told Adam, don't listen to shaitan. Yeah? He is your manifest enemy. Right? And then you wonder that how did Adam still ignore what Allah said and listen to what shaitan said? Because no one had ever lied. Adam had never experienced anything like that before. Right? Adam was created a grown person. You know what I mean? He didn't go through as a child, had some innocence, and that innocence was erased, and then he became pessimistic, and then he became like us. No, he didn't go through all of that. Right? Adam was created, what's the word I'm looking for? Huh? Adult, but simple. You know what I mean? Like ready to believe, huh? Naive, yeah, Adam was naive. And on one hand, Adam was naive, and you have people, and Adam has never experienced a lie before. And not only that, what does shaitan say? Wallahi, I am telling the truth. Wallahi, yeah? He swears by Allah, right? And now someone who's never experienced that type of conniving is going to accept it. The Muslims at that time considered that their scholars and those who sit on manabir and those who sit on pulpits are not going to forge lies. Yeah? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. If it's easier to open the door, you can open the door, as long as the people, if we can just ask the people who want to talk not to sit in the middle. You can move to the side, please. Yeah? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali. And so Muawiya, he paid a hefty price for anyone who would forge stories about Uthman. And so eulogists and poets began to talk about the virtues of Uthman. And in talking about the virtues of Uthman, what they did was they raised the rank of Uthman to such a degree that no one would question why Uthman was killed in the first place. They would say he was a shaheed bichara. Yeah? But Uthman was killed for a particular reason. Right? Uthman was killed because of his greed and because of his nepotism and because of his unfair treatment of the Muslims. He was killed for a specific reason. But if you'd only talk about how great he was and how good he was, then nobody will question why he was killed. They will just consider it to be an act of injustice that was done against him. And so they talked about his innocence and how great he was. And at the same time, through propaganda, they linked Ali to the death of Uthman. Yeah? Muawiya, I'm telling you, yeah? Muawiya was something else. Muawiya, through propaganda, and again, this was not something that was difficult to do, right? Because they would say, look, Ali always wanted the Khilafah, didn't he? Yeah? Ali stood for it at the time of Abu Bakr. Ali stood for it at the time of Umar. Ali stood for it at the time of Uthman. Ali wanted it, right? Ali felt it was his, and so Ali couldn't wait any longer, and so Ali killed Uthman. Or maybe they didn't say it like that. Or maybe they said, maybe Ali killed Uthman. That's all you need, yeah? That's all you need, maybe. Maybe he did that. And now you have linked the name of one person with the murder of another person. And then when it came down to it, what Muawiya did on top of that is that they emphasized and they made sure that people knew that the Bani Umayyah were the legal and religious inheritors of Uthman. Yeah? Because they were cousins, right? And so they say that we now inherit Uthman. The way Hassan inherited Ali, it should have been us who inherited Uthman. And so what they did through one, raising the rank of Uthman, two, connecting Ali to the murder of Uthman, and three, saying that they were the legitimate heirs of Uthman, it put Muawiya's Khilafah as being legitimate. And not only did it put Muawiya's Khilafah as being legitimate, it gave Muawiya full right as the guardians and inheritors of Uthman to be hostile to Ali and anyone who linked with Ali ibn Abi Talib. And so he got a pass to go after those who were loyal to Ali because they killed someone from his family. Subhanallah. You see what happened here? Yeah? It was like we got a whiplash, but imagine what the people were going through at that time. This was an entire bombardment of propaganda, fake news, false flag operations, all of these things against Ali ibn Abi Talib at that time, that after a series of events came about, Ali alayhi salam was considered to be so out of line and so out of place that he was not even for a period of time in history considered to be amongst the first four caliphs of Islam. Yeah? That for decades after, during the rule of the Bani Umayyah, Muawiya was considered the fourth caliph of Islam, and Ali was considered one who usurped the Khilafat for 5 years. Right? And we see this in numerous examples, that history tells us that Ahmad ibn Hanbal, right, of the Hanbali sect, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, who was born 120 years after the death of Ali, he viewed Ali not to be a caliph of Islam. Yeah? And it was only later in his life, much later in his life, where he accepted that Ali was the fourth caliph of Islam. We're talking about for 150 years this thought went on that Ali was a usurper and Ali did not deserve this khilafah, and that Ali wasn't there. And he was heavily criticized, Ahmad bin Hanbal, according to the books of history, for even suggesting that Ali could be the fourth caliph of Islam. It was only 10 years ago, again I think I gave this example, that in the University of Damascus, many people would go and study Arabic at the University of Damascus. I had a cousin of mine who went to go study there, and he's a sheikh as well. And when they were being taught Arabic, they were being taught about the history of Islam. And in Sham, in 2013, when they listed the first four caliphs, Muawiya was the fourth caliph. Yeah? And the name of Ali wasn't there. We're talking about not 1,000 years ago. We're talking about 5 years ago. 8 years ago, 10 years ago, yeah? That the name of Ali still in certain areas is so vile in their eyes, yeah? That they don't want anything to do with Ali when it comes to Islam. And so when we look at all of these things, the cursing and the false stories of Ali, the killing and the intimidation of those who are associated with Ali, the false glorifications of previous leaders, and how Muawiya became a legitimate successor to Uthman, we can see that because of these reasons, Ali was considered to be an outcast. Ali was considered somebody who was worthy of hate, and worthy of anyone who linked themselves to Ali, worthy of hate. And this is how, my brothers and sisters, yeah, that we see that this hate simply continued. And when you take hate and all of a sudden you add more hate on there, and now you have generational hate, that generational hate will not even know why they hate. All they know is that they hate. Yeah? And this is what we see Ali in today. Yeah? And what we see the lovers of Ali today, that if you honestly were to ask people, and these people who kill the Shia of Ali, why do you kill the Shia of Ali? They would not know why they hate Ali ibn Abi Talib. All they know is that they've been told to hate Ali ibn Abi Talib. And this is the sad state of Ali. Inshallah, in the upcoming 2 lectures, we're going to look at what are the root causes of why Muawiya had such hate for Ali ibn Abi Talib. Because this type of hate that Muawiya, this type of planning takes a lot of planning. And takes a lot of effort. And if it's somebody who is not important to me or someone who I don't really have too much connection to, I'm not going to waste that much time on it. But Muawiya must have had some serious dislike for Ali. And inshallah, in the course of the next 2 lectures, we're going to examine what about Ali irritated and annoyed Muawiya. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Tonight is the 20th, where we remember the continued pain of Ali ibn Abi Talib and the continued difficulty that the family were enduring during these times. You know, the history books tell us that when Ali alayhi salam was struck and when he was placed on the lap of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, Imam al-Hasan asked him, Ya Abata, who did this to you? To which the Imam replied, he is coming very soon and you will see for yourself who did. Ibn Muljim was brought in front of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and when he was brought in front of Imam alayhi salam, Imam looks at Imam al-Hasan and says, Ya Bunayya, Nahnu ahlu bayti la tazdadu ala dhanbin ilayna illa karaman wa afwa. He says, oh my son, know that we the Ahlul Bayt do not go out of hand when we come to giving back retribution for what was done to us. Rather, we are those who forgive, my son. We are those who act generously. He says, Bihaqqi alayk, my right upon you, O my son. Fa'atimhu ya bunayya mimma ta'akulu. He says that give him of food, whatever you give him, whatever you eat. And give him to drink whatever it is that you drink. We say to Ali, Ali, your wisdom is far greater than we can understand. Indeed, your son Hassan knew what the akhlaq of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam was. But I have no doubt in my heart that this message was not for Imam al-Hasan. This message was for the people of Kufa. That, oh people of Kufa, very soon from now, my daughter will come through this very city with chains around her hands and chained around the neck of my daughter Sakina. And please treat them with a little ihsan. Remember how I treated the one who attacked me. Treat my own family better than that. It is that Imam alayhi salam was carried back to his house. They say that when he came close to his house, he saw that Zainab and Kulthum were standing there. He told his son that tell the people of Kufa to go away from this house, for I do not want them to hear the cries of my daughters tonight. It is said by Muhammad Hanafiya that the poison reached all the way down to the toes of my father. It is said the Imam alayhi salam spent that entire evening giving wasiyah to his children. He reminded them to fear Allah. Ya awladi ittaqillah, and do not run after the pleasures of this world. Fear Allah, fear Allah. When it comes to the matters of orphans, Imam spent all of his time giving his advice to the children to know that they will be left alone after these few nights. And then when the morning of the 20th day came, it is said Imam alayhi salam invited the people of Kufa to come and bid farewell to him. It is said as they came, the Imam says to them, Ayyuhan nas, اسألوا اسألوني قبل أن تفقدوني. Ask me before you lose me. وخففوا سؤالكم لمصيبتي أمامكم. But he says, but please think before you ask. Please make sure that your questions are those that will make a difference to you. For you see the difficulties that I am in. As the people asked the questions, Imam alayhi salam saw Hujr ibn Adi in front of him. He says, Hujr, come in front of me. Hujr comes in front of the Imam alayhi salam. The Imam begins to question Hujr. He says, Ya Hujr, will you leave my wilaya ever? To which he replies, Wallahi ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, لو قطعت بالسيف إربا إربا. That, oh my Imam, if I was cut by a sword into pieces, وَضْرِمُوا لِلنَّارِ, and if they were to throw me into the fire, I would never leave your wilaya, ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Imam looks at him and says, oh Hijr, that is exactly what will happen to you. And then there came a time when our Imam was tired. He said to Imam al-Hassan, Ya Bunayya, tell everyone it's time for me to rest. Everyone leaves the house of Imam alayhi salam. But in a little while, they hear the sounds of crying coming from outside the Imam's house. Imam al-Hassan comes outside. He sees the companion Asbagh bin Nabata sitting there. Imam says to him, Ya Asbagh, did you not hear the command of your Imam that you should go and allow him to rest? Asbagh replied, he says, Ya Sayyidi, I heard, but I cannot get myself to leave without seeing the Imam. Asbagh comes to the presence of Imam Ali. He sees the condition of Imam Ali. He sees the complexion of Imam Ali has turned into yellow. He begins to cry profusely. Imam alayhi salam says, La tabki ya Asbagh. Do not cry ya Asbagh. فَإِنَّ وَاللَّهِ الْجَنَّةِ. Because by God I can see Jannah in front of me. Asbagh says, Ya Sayyidi, I am not crying because I doubt that you will go to Jannah. I have no doubt you will precede us there. But he said, Ya Sayyidi, wa innama abki li faqdi faqduka ya Sayyidi. We are crying because of how the loss that we will feel after you, O Imam. The Imam embraces Asbagh and says, Asbagh, know that this loss will be felt by our Shia. And we indeed say our salams to the Imam that this loss is still felt by us till today. فَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Matam Hussein.